He thought it was hopeless, and he only had one option.
Never give up on someone contemplating suicide. The strongest risk factor for suicide is depression. Depression is a condition that can be managed with the help of mental health professionals.
He was wrong. Depression is treatable. Suicide can be prevented.
Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255.
September is National Suicide Prevention Month, and all month, mental health advocates, prevention organizations, survivors, allies, and community members are uniting to promote suicide prevention awareness. The United States Congress approved the adoption of 988. It's a new 3-digit number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline to be completed by July of 2022. In the meantime, if you need to talk, 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. If you need to talk to anyone, 988 not yet active, so 1-800-273-TALK is the number. We can all help to prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you or for loved ones, and best practices for professionals. So if you know someone or if you're feeling it, feel free to share that information and get it out there, especially now as we're living in a quarantine. Statistics are showing that suicide is much more prevalent. We know the crisis that we have in our military, OV. Suicide is for real. This is definitely the month where we need to be talking about it. So here's us doing our part.
Absolutely. And for the Veterans Crisis Line and everyone active duty, National Guard, reservists, hey, 1-800-273-8255, press 1. Or, hey, somebody, hey, down 911. I mean, hey, the most important, every life counts. Every life counts, no matter what. And please take this seriously. Don't leave your loved ones behind. Thank you.
Once again, 1-800-273-TALK. And welcome to All Four Downs. We are at week 3 of the college football season. Well, I guess technically week 3. It's not quite week 3 for everybody. A whole slate of games once again have been canceled due to COVID. But for the most part, things are going pretty well. We've also got our top 25. We'll do our pick 'em. It's going to be a really great show. So much to talk about, including prime time coming to the college football ranks. We'll get into that and so much more, along with Big Jace. There he is, Sean Scanlon and Ovi Munez.
How's it going, Joe?
Oh, guys, this has been so much going on in college football, and shockingly, this is funny, guys. Ovi's watched a lot of these games, and yet still, based on his picks, he doesn't seem like he understands how it works.
Oh, look, he must be confused with the NFL and college, but hey, I'll let that slide. But in seriousness, I'm a little saddened because I was watching the Giants game and I was a little bit disappointed. Then I turned the channel and something caught my attention. I was seeing the movie called Brian's Song. Now, those of you that don't know what that movie is entailed, it's about Gale Sayers and Brian Piccolo. Gale Sayers got injured, got a knee injury, was sidelined, and he thought that his world was the end, was pissed off and everything else. And here comes Brian in his basement, hooking up some leg workouts and stuff like that, those equipment. And these two was bestest friends. Okay, and long story short, Brian died of cancer at a young age. I think he was 28 years old. His numbers were declining, and it was because he had health issues. And what got to me here is you see a black man and a white man together, and they looked at each other like there was no such thing as color. And that's at the time when there was a lot of racial issues going on and stuff like that. And here you are, these two football players getting along like nothing. And it just impressed me, especially the stuff that we're going through today, Joe. I just found that the movie was fascinating. And then just to hear that Gil Sayers passed away early this morning or late last night.
Yeah, so such sad news. The Kansas Comet, an all-time great, obviously a member of the NFL Hall of Fame. I actually saw that movie when I was just a kid, and it always stuck with me. And you're right when you talk about now, one of the things I've talked about on my politics show, Divided We Stand, is the idea that, I played football and I've played sports my whole life. I know you guys have too. Well, we've also been in the military. When you're in a locker room and you're like on a team with other dudes, you just don't see it. I mean, everybody in that locker room is your brother, and it's the way we treat it. And it's unfortunate that idea can't extend out of the locker room and into people's living rooms, because that's really where it belongs. And again, I think this is one of the great stories in all of sports, the story of Brian Piccolo and his relationship with Gale Sayers. When Gale Sayers won the George S. Hallis Courage Award after coming back from a devastating knee injury, he actually gave that award to Brian Piccolo, just to give you an idea of what that relationship was like. And again, if you've ever had football teammates, you just understand, when you're all working together for a common goal. We certainly make jokes about our races, but, never anything vicious. I mean, you can't acknowledge, you can't not acknowledge that you're, from different backgrounds and that you all look a little bit differently. But again, it's a brotherhood, and we're fighting for a common goal. And you don't see that kind of racism. Again, you're working towards a common goal. And I think, maybe in this country, we need to sort of get our eye on that, maybe a common goal that we can all work towards, and just sort of watch the racism fall by the wayside.
Absolutely. We're all in this, man. We all want our freedom. We want to live peacefully. And it's sad to how we are living today. And I can't say it's like that everywhere. I know here is diverse, but yet we still talk about it because we don't want that in our neighborhood. We just spread the positivity, we spread the diverse, and we take it day by day. And if you haven't seen the movie, I recommend everybody to go ahead and do so, because it's on TV now. So check your local network and see, or hey, you can always go on YouTube or stream it. But the movie is called Brian's Song. Awesome movie. Check it out. But you know what else is awesome is Deion Sanders is now the new head coach of the Jackson State University.
I don't know if I feel like this is great.
You don't think so?
What?
I don't know. I don't feel like this is great. I don't feel like it's great. What? I mean, what? Why can't I say I don't feel like it's great? I like Deion Sanders. I don't know that Deion Sanders is going to make a good head coach. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know that we've ever seen anybody like Deion Sanders. And what I mean by that is an all-time great become the head coach or the manager of a team and have success.
Well,
because
he's the assistant coach right now.
Listen, there's a difference between being a head coach and being like an assistant, an offensive coordinator, or a batting coach. Those are different things. We rarely ever see, if ever, a superstar player become a superstar head coach. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. I'll look in the comments. I don't see it. I don't see one.
Mike,
I would say Mike Ditka, you're talking about an interesting era, and okay, I'll give you Mike Ditka, although I would even argue what a great coach Mike Ditka was.
He won the Super Bowl.
Those 85 Bears are very overhyped. They're very overhyped, and Buddy Ryan's defense is as good as they were, really only won the one Super Bowl, but I'm not here trying to argue technicalities, okay? I'm not sure that Deion Sanders can teach a young quarterback or a young cornerback or a young wide receiver how to be humble, because being prime time doesn't work for everybody. If you're prime time, you got to be able to back it up, and Neon Deion could do it. Most guys can't. And this is Ryan Sandberg, when he became the manager of the Phillies, I thought this is going to be great. Disaster. Hall of Fame ball player. When you're a Hall of Famer, when you're a superstar, your experience in your sport is not the experience of 95% of the guys that you play with. It's just not. And it's hard for you to come at them when you've only been pampered your entire career by your coaches. That's all I'm saying. And if I'm wrong, God bless Deion Sanders. I hope they go undefeated next year.
Here's the thing. Hold on, just if Deion Sanders hires actual offensive and defensive coordinators and stuff like that, I think he'll be successful, because you get two coaches in there that not only will they be running the offense or defense, but they're also helping Deion Sanders out. But if what they're saying is trying to get like Warren Sapp or some other guys in that, it's not official. It's not official. Slow down. Then I'll say, you know what, Joe, you have a point there. You know what I mean? Well, go ahead, Jace.
Listen, I get what you're saying, but this is Jackson State. This isn't the rumors that were happening last year where people were talking about Deion Sanders taking over at Florida State. This is Jackson State. It don't matter who your head coach is. I'm surprised they even have a football program. If Deion Sanders wants to take all of his millions of dollars he has and invest a little bit back into the sport and make a little bit more from it, let him do it. And it's Jackson State. Jackson State ain't winning a national championship anytime soon. They could have the ghost of Vince Lombardi coaching for them. They're not winning a championship anytime soon. So it doesn't really matter. It's cool. He had this sick presidential roll up where there was a bunch of cars, him and his girlfriend coming in. He's bringing pizzazz. He's bringing the primetimeness to Jackson State football. Hey, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a pretty good move. Obviously for, an HBCU school to get such a name like Deion Sanders, so they can try and get more recruits for those schools, down south. I think it was a really great move. And Deion Sanders, he's been a head coach before. While it hasn't been at the college ranks, he's coached both of his sons in high school, led them to state championships. I know it's high school. I get it.
Roll on his eyes.
And his sons, he could whoop their asses if they don't listen to him. It's different when you're in college. If you do it in college, they give you the Bobby Knight and they send you packing.
Yeah, but that's, his sons are two players out of the, probably 80 plus players that he had to deal with. It obviously, there's stars in his sons, but he's won state championships. High school football down south isn't what it is up north. It's very competitive. So I think for a school like Jackson State to get a hire like that, I think it's a really good move. And I believe in prime time to, get this program rolling, and maybe they can make some noise in the next couple of years.
Look, they're going to get the program rolling, but that does not necessarily mean that they're going to get the 5-star caliber players to Jackson State. Of course, it's going to be dominant to down south to the SEC or Ohio State in the Big Ten, that type of deal. But, it's a win-win for Jacksonville State, and they put themselves on the map. Let's put it that way. I was curious which conference they're in, but you know what? Like The Rock says, it doesn't matter what they from, because at the end of the day, they're not in the top 25.
Look, it's from every angle. I think it's a good move. My point is, I do not believe 30 years from now that we're going to be doing this show going, Deion Sanders, greatest coach of all time. Didn't see that. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I bet you he never has a 500 or better season at Jackson State. How's that?
All right.
Well,
they suck, by the way. I don't know if anybody bothered to look up how they've been doing. They're not good.
It doesn't matter now that they have a name like Deion Sanders there. He's going to be able to recruit.
He's not playing, though.
I'm saying recruiting-wise, he's going to be able to get so many more names. Obviously, the SEC is still going to get the bulk of the big names down there. But I think like a name like that for an HBCU school, kids that want to be committed to that, I think it's a good move. I think he could pull some of the recruits from some of the bigger schools. And I'm not saying like he's going to be the greatest of all time. I think that's a stretch for sure. That's not what I was saying. I just think that he'll be a solid head coach, and Jackson State could make some noise.
Here's a statement from Dennis Carnes when he says, my reporter friend, who is a reporter, John Anderson in Tyler, Texas, just covered one of Deion's high school teams games. Deion's speech was excellent, and we need more of those speeches molding our youths. And you're absolutely right. I mean, he can mold them, change the culture at wherever he's at, Jackson State, or if he moves somewhere else later down the years, if he's able to make a positive, and I'm good. I'm glad that we're using that word constantly, positivity, because that's what we need. We need that motivation. And like I said, we're not saying that they're going to be national champions, but if they turn that program around, that'll be a success for Deion Sanders and good for him. But I know Joe is like, what in the world is going on?
I'm not counting any of my chickens at this point. You know what I'm saying? Not a single one. Not a one.
All right. Hey, let's recap some of the games that happened this past week here. We'll start with Tulsa and Oklahoma State. Look, Tulsa was leading at the end of the third quarter 7-3, and then all of a sudden Chuba Hubbard rushed for a touchdown. They took the lead thereafter, 16-7. Guys, Big 12 once again is disappointing.
Yo, if it wasn't for true freshman is Shane Illingworth, they probably don't win this football game. And Tulsa was playing without their best running back. So Oklahoma State certainly got lucky in this one. I had to figure at some point Hubbard was going to get it together. He certainly waited till late in the game too. He still ended up running for over 100 yards. So it worked out, but not a great showing by any stretch, especially for a team who's just debuting, and Tulsa's not good.
And Oklahoma State is now without a starting quarterback, as quarterback Spencer Sanders will miss the rest of the season due to his thumb. So bye-bye quarterback, and who knows if his replacement is just as good. So there's just more trouble for them.
I think whoever replaces him, I think they'll be okay. This was their first game thus far. It is interesting. It was a rough one. It sucks that Spencer Sanders is going to miss the rest of the season. He was, I personally think, the best freshman quarterback last year, and I was excited. But this was a real letdown. They have a lot of offensive weapons in Hubbard and also Tylen Wallace, their star wide receiver. So this was just a letdown game. I'm excited. I still think there might be something going on in Oklahoma State. I think if they could get it together, they can compete with the Oklahomas and the Texases in the Big 12, but they need to figure it out because this was not a good showing.
Yeah, it was an ugly game overall for Oklahoma State. Obviously losing their quarterback and just not being able to get their stars going. I thought going into the year that they would have a decent shot at contending for the Big 12, but after seeing this outing, I would expect a lot more from their offense. Obviously their defense played all right. Tulsa doesn't have a great offense, but I definitely expected a lot more, and it was disappointing to see for Oklahoma State.
By the way, I made a mistake. Hubbard actually finished with 93 yards. He did not get to 100, which snapped an 11-game streak with 100 yards or more. So I stand corrected. But that notion that this team definitely struggled and definitely has to get the ship right. If you can't, you got to struggle with Tulsa, boy. You're in some serious trouble.
Hey, but at least they got a kicker.
Yeah, hey, you know what? It's what it's all about, especially in college, man. You know, you see it in college, boy, how important having a good kicker is. Lifesaver in this case.
Absolutely. But hey, another game to cover, which was an outstanding game for towards the end. But Miami defeating Louisville 47-34. King threw 18 out of 30, 325 yards, 3 touchdowns. But man, you know, Cameron Harris, 9 carries, 134 yards. And then wide receiver Brandon Jordan, 7 receptions, 120 yards. Man, these guys, this is a complete team. And we haven't seen Miami as complete as what they are right now. Not saying they're going to go past Clemson, but man, they are so superb than last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was a great game for Miami. In the rankings this week, I put them in my top 10. I love what their offense is doing. I had them at number 10, but De'Ara King is just super explosive. I loved what he did at Houston last year, and he's got it going this year for Manny Diaz and the Miami Hurricanes. So who knows? The U might be able to make some noise in the ACC this year. I don't see them beating Clemson, obviously, but maybe they have a chance to get to the ACC championship game if they could beat the likes of Virginia Tech and North Carolina. But really good start for the U to start the year.
You know, Louisville certainly lit it up on offense as well. Miami's defense struggled at times, but, you know, they certainly got some fast guys over there at Louisville. 2 big turnovers, though, you know, really made all the difference in the game by that Miami defense. So they got to feel good about this one.
Absolutely. I see big things happening for Malik Cunningham. This guy, he has high potential. We could see him, you know, hopefully he sticks around to his senior year and get a high draft pick in the NFL. But Louisville, we're going to talk about that team later on. The upset special was Marshall defeating Appalachian State. Marshall, I mean, this game was actually a good defensive game. Mad respect to both teams, but of course there has to be a winner. And congratulations to Marshall. A job well done.
Marshall had not beat a ranked opponent at home since 1976. I was 1 year old when that happened, and they hadn't beat a ranked opponent since 2003 when they beat Kansas State. So what a huge win for these guys. You know, it's funny. I remember everybody was talking about what about Appalachian State and, you know, what if they're undefeated? Well, I told you last week we wouldn't have to worry about that. When the Thundering Herd, that's how it went down, boys.
Is that right? Just like that? Just like that. You know what else went down? I'm going to tell you what went down. I'm going to tell you what went down, and this happened like 2 weeks ago when I was trying to tell Jace that, bam, Navy is better than what they are, and they showed in the last 2 quarters of the game that, hey, they deserve to be recognized. They came back 27 straight points in the second half to defeat Tulane 27-24. Man, down 24-0 in a college football game.
Your defense for Navy is they came back from 24-0 on Tulane. Tulane, man, bro, like they got shut out 6 straight quarters, and you're not gonna give them. You're not gonna give BYU respect. You're not gonna.
I already told you I wasn't until
though they don't really deserve it after blowing that.
Nope.
But
I'm sorry, I'm not sold in BYU, but I am sold that Navy is back, and you're gonna see them play Navy football and the way they're supposed to play.
Navy ran 2 plays in Tulane territory in the entire first half.
Yeah,
I mean,
man, it was struggle.
Offensive incompetence at its absolute finest. An offense you've been running for about 50 years. Are you kidding me? You couldn't get nothing going.
Hey, man, that coach went in there and said, yo, you don't play, I'm going to put my foot up, shit up your and that's what happened. I'm telling you, man, don't sleep on Navy. Do not sleep on Navy.
Don't sleep on BYU.
Oh,
wait a minute. hold on. Do you remember what I said right off the top?
No,
Obi watches so many games and somehow walks away with like.
And yet, me and Jace tied 6-2 this past week.
That says more about Jace than it does you.
Don't worry, we got College Piccolo sponsored by Dennis Carnes with my OB opposite choice. Okay, so more college football news here, real quick. Notre Dame Wake Forest football game is scheduled for Saturday, has been postponed after the Irish announced 13 players are in isolation due to COVID-19. It's optional whether or not they're going to have the game on October 3rd. More to follow on that. We also have the Big Ten to compete 8 games in 8 weeks. The Big Ten Championship is scheduled for December 19th. That could be a concern there. I'm not really sold on this COVID thing and how they could do this 8 games, 8 weeks. So no one's really gave an explanation in case they miss a game. But for right now, it's 8 games all the way through the championship. Ohio State is favored to win it, to go 9-0, and expected to be in the college playoffs. SEC LSU had 14 players in the draft to the NFL. So they got a new roster, plus they got a new offensive and defensive coordinator that had left to the NFL. And lastly, Tulsa, Arkansas State, South Florida, and Florida Atlantic, and North Texas and Houston. All games have been postponed due to COVID-19.
I got a couple more notes for you here for the week. Miami confirmed quarterback Tate Martell's opted out of playing this season. He had transferred from Ohio State, played in 5 games. He's all set for the year. Missouri had 12 players initially that would be sidelined for the game Saturday against Alabama. Apparently 5 of those guys have cleared protocol, so they will be there. So just 7 guys will be out. And UMass, which you'll recall canceled its fall football season about a month and a half ago, says it plans on playing a limited number of games beginning in mid-October. They'll announce their opponents as soon as they start booking them.
I wonder if UConn's going to follow suit because they've been very, very quiet.
I'm sure UMass is hoping that UConn wants to play some football because I don't see anybody lining up. I don't see anybody lining up like to fill UMass's dance card. You know what I mean?
Also, to add on to the Big Ten, also for their championship weekend, they aren't just going to do the Big Ten championship. They're going to do the one from each side against the one from each side in the championship, and then just go down. So we will be getting a whole stacked day of games of Big Ten football that championship weekend.
Wow. It's incredible how I just wish the Big Ten should have just stayed and just started from the beginning, listen to the other conferences, see how they were doing. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of the bubble. I think they should have done that. I think everybody should have done that. But it is what it is, man. You know, it's the pressure, man. You said it before 2 weeks ago, Joe. You know, when the ball goes rolling, politics start getting involved. There's a lot of pressure, and it's look. Big Ten is coming, and who knows what the Pac-12 will do later on.
We'll see.
Yeah, you know, I'm sure we'll talk about this in a minute, but there's got to be a lot of concern going forward. You got some teams playing 8 games, some might be playing 6, some playing 11, and we haven't determined what bowl eligibility looks like. I mean, they had all this stuff and all this time to plan and talk about all this stuff, and nobody thought about like the most basic thing. And also, you know, I understand that we live in a weird world, and if you're going to do the bubble, like that's great and all that, but is there a reason why every single sports postseason has to be like changed in some way? Like I don't understand this. I really don't understand why all the extra effort to the postseasons. I don't understand what that's doing.
I don't understand either, but hey,
does anybody, either of you, have a thought on? I mean, I don't understand. Like, why can't we just get the sport that we like and like it just unfolds as it normally would, but with less games?
If any sport needs a change to their postseason, it's college football, though. Like, just 4 out of all the teams in the country.
Yeah, but you're talking about 120 colleges. You know what I mean? It's better than what it was before. We don't have to rely on a certain poll to be like the top 2 teams go for the championship.
It's still going to benefit the big dogs because it always does.
So what you say? Top 8 make it to the playoffs? You think that's satisfied?
Top 8, top 6.
Yeah.
You can make other stuff work.
Top 16. I think that's if you do a top 16 like tournament.
Yeah, but you're talking about a lot of games that's going to be played.
4 games.
It's just more bowl games, more opportunities for.
So are they playing less in regular season, or are they going to play a total? The champion plays a total of 16 games in the season.
You're already playing less games for a lot of these places.
Well, they're averaging 12 games every year, except for this.
No, I understand that. Well, again, you're going to run into the problem of what if one team's 8-0 and I'm 11-2? Who's better?
Me. I'm better.
Which one are you?
The opposite.
You're not Navy, that's for sure.
No, I'm Army, baby. Don't get it twisted. Hey, let's move on here to the leaderboards here. We have 6 quarterbacks who have thrown over 4 touchdown passes and have 0 interceptions. And I'm going to ask you guys, we'll go around. We'll start with you, Joe. Out of these 6 quarterbacks, who you think it has a high potential of winning the Heisman in this current state?
Look, I think this award is obviously Trevor Lawrence's to lose. Let's be honest. I mean, if Trevor Lawrence has a Trevor Lawrence kind of season, then Trevor Lawrence wins it. But I've got my eye on De'Aaron King because I think he's got some superstar quality about him. And, man, if he can get it going at the U, he'd definitely be a contender. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think this is easy. Everybody wants. We've already crowned Trevor Lawrence the first round pick and the Heisman Trophy winner. He's just got to do his part.
All right. I like De'Aaron King a lot just because of his ability to make it get going with his feet. But I'm rocking it right now. I'm rocking the Longhorns. Hook 'em horns. Sam Ehlinger, I think this year is going to be Texas' year to take over the Big 12. Big 12 does not like play defense, so he will be putting up some massive numbers. I think he gets it done. He leads them, and he might find himself in the Heisman. I do think Trevor Lawrence, he will be number 1 overall pick. He just has that pretty much in lock. But when it comes putting up numbers, they run the football a lot. They play a lot of smart football, so he's not going to have the stats like a Sam Ehlinger will. So that's why I think Sam Ehlinger is going to get the Heisman.
By the way, good move, Ovi, walking away as Jay started talking. You didn't miss anything.
Yeah. For my pick, Joe.
Well, I heard.
Yeah, Joe took my guy in De'Aaron King. I really like him a lot. So if I would have to go with another one that wasn't Trevor Lawrence, I'd probably bring up Spencer Rattler, who's looked – they haven't played really anyone in the first 2 weeks, but he has looked great. Obviously, with the history of Oklahoma quarterbacks with, Baker and Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts, Lincoln Riley always has them ready to go. So I think in his first year as a full-time starter, he's already proved that, he can put up the numbers, throws a lot of touchdowns, doesn't turn the ball over a lot. So Oklahoma always has the explosive offense. I could see him realistically finishing in the top 3 for Heisman, maybe even going and winning it.
But you guys brought good points. I'm not a big fan of Sam Ehlinger. I thought that he starts off good the first half of the season, but then he finds himself down slope. And he's a risk taker. And sometimes being risky, you create a lot of turnovers. Spencer Rattler, you hit it right on the bat, Sean. I mean, that program is always designed to have good quarterbacks to at least be contenders for the Heisman. But, Joe, you hit it on point. Trevor Lawrence is there for him. Only he could lose it. And I don't think that they'll be unanimous. I don't know. He may set a record for the most first ballot or something like that. I don't know how they do it there, but I might set a record. So, but hey, SEC football is going to begin this weekend. Yes, finally, I can't wait to see my Bulldogs actually represent. That's right. This is what happened in the last decade, the SEC championship. Yes, Alabama, they rotating their way through 5 victories, and hopefully they ease off a little bit and allow some room for my Georgia. But of course, last year LSU dominant. They are the champions, and it moves on to this. Talking about quarterbacks, these are the quarterbacks they're talking about in the SEC. In Georgia, we still don't know if DeJuan Mathis or JT Daniels is going to be the starting quarterback. We might not find out till Saturday who's going to be the one. But the sleeper I'm taking is Bo Nix. No one's really talking about him, but he's been progressed every year. And if Alabama is going to win that division in the West, they're going to have to go through Auburn. They have to go through Nix.
Well, I'll take Mac Jones. I think he might be the best of this bunch. Guy's been there, done that. I feel really good about him and about Alabama. I think he's going to have an outstanding year. I think Brennan will certainly I think Brennan has a chance to be very good. He's got big shoes to fill, obviously. And maybe in a regular year where there wasn't, abbreviated camp and living in, COVIDville, which is so weird. I think you could say, yeah, maybe big things for him. But to me, I just think Mac Jones is in a really good spot right now with a really good team. So I'd expect big things from him.
Kyle Trask, before last year, did not start a game after his freshman year of high school. Mac Jones, bum. He'll lose his job to Tua's younger brother. Miles Brennan, though, like OV mentioned earlier, everyone of note from the Tigers last year, they moved on. They're going to be buns. Bo Nix, something about him. He's known for making those moments, winning week 1 against Oregon last year in his first ever start, and then being able to lead the Tigers over Bama was also really big. So keep an eye out for him. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with my Pac-12 guy, JT Daniels. This dude can light it up. This dude's got the best arm out of all of them. This dude will make you pay by the air, and he's going to be dominant. Out of all of these guys up here, JT Daniels is the only one that's NFL quality.
Well, correction there. Hold on, Sean. Correction there. Talia is no longer in Alabama. He actually transferred to Maryland. So
they're screwed even more.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I agree with what Jace was saying about Kyle Trask. He took over for the starting job a little bit into the year last year. He had them in some really tight games down to the stretch of the season. I think Florida wants to make some noise this year too. The Gators have been down and out in the SEC for a while. Finally last year, kind of making their way back up. But I think he put up some impressive numbers last year. He had some really good games, and I expect him to have a good year. And then I also think Mac Jones, I think he's a pretty good, pretty solid option. Obviously, when Tua got hurt last year, we saw him in the Iron Bowl. They didn't end up beating Auburn, but he had a heck of a game. That was a great game to watch. But I think not to sleep on Mac Jones. I think he's not as great as Tua. I don't think he'll live up to that reputation, but I don't think he's too far behind either.
He's got some great weapons, man, in Najee Harris and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. I mean, he's got guys to get the ball into their hands, and good things are going to happen. So I would bet, Jace, that he will finish this season as the best quarterback in the SEC.
All right. I don't know about that.
That's all you got to say is all right, man. Come on.
Dude, no.
He's
buns. He the only reason, first off,
get angry. Angry.
Hold on. I'm trying to make my point.
Do it.
The SEC is not a quarterback division.
No, it's not.
Joe Burrow?
Joe, cool. You got another name for me? You going to bring up A.J. McCarron? What's he doing now?
Cam Newton is not a quarterback.
A couple examples.
Wait, did anybody mention
1 year wonders?
Yeah,
1 year
wondered.
wonders.
No.
Tua, okay. But it's not. It's not.
I just made my point then. So what are you talking about?
Can I get to my point?
Yes.
There's a lot of points here.
They aren't going. No quarterback is going to win these teams' games. They're going to win based off their defense, their running game, especially Georgia. But if you, out of any of those quarterbacks, you need to make a game-winning drive, JT Daniels is going to be the one to carry that team. None of them will. Their heads are just way too far up their rear ends.
Well, I don't know. I got to disagree with you there because Jones has experience. He did go win last year.
But the games he played, he couldn't make the key throw like Tua could.
Hold on for a second.
Oh, is it because he's a backup? What are you talking about?
Tua got hurt.
Geez, he didn't win a bowl game as a backup? Or that's your argument against Mac Jones? Are you joking?
That's not my argument.
That's all I heard.
He had all these weapons.
That's all I heard.
Jared Judy.
Got no practice time. What are you talking about?
No practice time. He's on the practice field just as much as Tua.
He wasn't getting first-team reps.
He had him
getting first-team reps. He had no rhythm with
That's like saying the backup quarterback.
And
Stop
then
being a hater.
Week to prepare.
Stop
and then
being a
came
hater.
out and lost. No, JT.
Mac Jones will show you what's up.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll talk about Mac Jones next week when we do the recap of Week 4 games. But let's look at the Week 3 games. A recap of what happened all around the top 25.
Get 35 yards on the carry to McClellan, his first since the 2018 campaign. And on the end around, Trey Tucker breaks inside past the 5 and scores.
Two tight ends into the game. Lawrence, quarterback keeper, and in for 6. Third rushing touchdown of the season for the junior.
Second down. Mitchell to the edge at the 10, at the 5, and the Raging Cajuns move to 2-0. It's Wells, and he scores. Play action over the middle, caught there. It's Evans racing to the 10, to the 40, lost the ball, and it's picked up by Marshall in the end zone. Oh, they sneak a man open, and it's the Rooster loose, and they're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Miami, 2 plays, 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. Lemister, not touched across the 20. It's a race that he'll win. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Sanders and Bullock combined. And it's Chuba Hubbard into the end zone for the first Oklahoma State touchdown.
For pressure out of this Pitt defense.
With 4. Culpepper going up top, and he has a receiver open. Connects with Harris. Stays on his feet inside the 10. He'll score.
Wow. Championship trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. UCF to the end zone and strike it again. Trey Nixon.
Yeah, there goes the highlights of what's happening on Week 3. We'll jump into the introduction of Week 4. This is a consensus rankings brought to you by Clovercrest Media. Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, and Oklahoma are the top 4 of our votes. I think we all could agree, except for, the Big Ten is not in the picture as of yet. We do see Ohio State at rank number 19, but hey, that's because only one voter put in Ohio State. But as close as we get to the Big Ten for next month, we'll see a big change there. But Joe, anything that stands out for you here?
Yeah, just excited about Mac Jones in Alabama sitting there at the 2 spot.
All right,
also,
you guys woke me up.
Also,
I put Big Ten in because SEC hasn't played anything. So why can't I put the Big Ten in?
I didn't say you couldn't.
Also,
but
Ovi.
called yourself out already. So
where was last week's number 7, Georgia Tech?
Yeah, when you lose a game, you're out of my list. So it is what it is.
If they're the number 7, I think they could drop down to 20s maybe, but completely out of the top 25.
Yeah, hold on.
UCF's ranked.
I think Ovi should have to explain where he's got Georgia Tech now on his top 50 list.
See, what happened was I added 2, 5, and 8, 9. I don't know what happened, but the good thing is that it's all right. You know, the board is good. It looks pretty. The colors are beautiful, but you'll see my Georgia Bulldogs being number 1. The hell with Georgia Tech. You know, who cares about those yellow jackets? But, hey, this list has looked pretty good. Of course, you know, I asked you what stood out, but you don't see Georgia Tech on that list. I don't know why y'all bringing up old stuff, but Sean, what you got here, man?
Yeah, just 2 things I would say. I would put Miami in my top 10 right now. I'd have them at number 10, but I think their 2 performances have been awesome. Derek King and the offenses look great. And then I would probably slide Notre Dame into my top 4 right now, just based off what they've done. They've come out and killed in the first 2 games. Oklahoma hasn't really played anyone. Obviously, they put up for right now. And we know how Oklahoma is once they get down to the Final Four, once they make the playoffs. They're super fraudulent. They get blown out every year. So I would like to see someone, even if it is Notre Dame, same thing might happen to them, but I think they could put up a better contest. So right now I would have Notre Dame in front of Oklahoma and Florida.
Well, you could also just slot Texas into like somewhere between 12 and 16 for when they lose their 3rd game of the year. You might as well just get them there now.
Well, I mean, the way the state is on the Big 12, I mean, I think right now they're overranked, but we'll see. I mean, like I said, Oklahoma was always the contenders, but you always expect them to lose at least 1 game. You know, so when the Big 10 goes in the picture, will we see the Big 12 ranking still the way it is now, or would they significantly drop? That is the big question. We won't know until November. Towards Thanksgiving Day, where we'll see the committee start voting who's going to be in the top 4. But hey, moving on to the college pick'em week 4, presented by Ovi's Opposite Choice, which is named by Dennis Carnes. I have to correct myself because he's in Daytona Beach, Florida. He is originally from LaGrange, Georgia, and this is a video of him. The Mr. Wildman himself. I know he's anxiously waiting for his video to be played. And so here he is from, if I'm not mistaken, this is Gary Youngman's pre-owned super center. He'll go an extra mile just to sell you a car, and this is what he does over there in Florida.
Is he motorboating the water? I don't even know what's happening here.
I didn't realize Florida was in that kind of a drought. You needed to resort to this.
Yeah.
That looks like Florida to me.
Oh, it is Florida. It is Florida.
I mean, the rest of the day at work's going to suck if you're Dennis.
Yeah, he better bring a change of clothes, I would hope.
That's not
man.
good.
He's an infantry soldier, man. He'd be all right. He knows how to dry himself with those wet clothes on. He'd be all right. And I got a feeling he might be responding to this real quick. Yeah, there we go. He says self-waterboarding.
Oh, I like that. I like that, Dennis. That is great.
Hey, he was crazy when I met him. And look, that's the type of leadership that I love, man. High risk, high roller. He's the man. And
consistency is key.
Yes, of course. And it's talk about consistency here. Sean, you started at number 1 and you're slipping a little bit. But Jace took over the lead here, going 6-2. It's a tight race, but hey, are we ready for some picks?
Oh, you know it.
All right, so we're going to start with our first game here, UAB versus South Alabama. Thursday, this is a spread. UAB is favorite, -7.5. Well, we'll start with Jace.
Oh, yeah, because I'm in the lead, so I got to go first.
Yes.
UAB, they're a solid school. South Alabama's been all right. Able to cover the spread last week. Don't expect that to happen this week. UAB wins it and covers.
I'm going to take South Alabama and the 7.5 points this week. I think they win the game outright too, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as them winning outright, but yeah, I do think South Alabama will cover the points. I'll take them.
All right, I picked South Alabama.
Crap. Now I want to change my pick.
Hey, listen, UAB quarterback Tyler Johnson is out indefinitely with his non-throwing shoulder injury. Bryson Lucero will be the starter. No information on Lucero, but South Alabama blew a 24-6 lead against Tulane and lost 27-24. Overall, with all that's going on, because of the quarterback issue, South Alabama wins. We got a Friday game at 8 o'clock, Middle Tennessee, versus UTSA, which is San Antonio. Jace.
Middle Tennessee stinks. They were the team that I think they lost 50-something to 0 against Marshall week 1. They're bad. UTSA, they're undefeated, which I don't think they're too good, but they'll pick up an easy W this week against Middle Tennessee.
It's not often I like to agree with Jace, but yes, this is an easy UTSA victory. They go 3-0. Middle Tennessee is god awful.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with San Antonio too on this one. You guys mentioned it, but Middle Tennessee, an embarrassing loss last week to Troy, 47-14. So, yeah, go with San Antonio on this one.
Well, I'm glad you guys went to the opposite, and I'm going to stick with my name here. Thanks, Dennis. And I will go for Middle Tennessee in this game. This is both their first conference game, and I'm telling you right now, go right ahead.
Not Tennessee. Even with the spread, you're just picking them right
out. I'm picking them right at it, baby.
I'll make a deal with you, OV. Mm-hmm. If Middle Tennessee beats UTSA, I will self-waterboard on the next show.
You heard that, Dennis. All right. Deal.
I like it.
All right, moving on. We got a huge game here. We got a huge game here. Army versus Cincinnati. Two ranked teams going at it. But this is a spread. Cincinnati's favorite at -14.
They will get that 14 and beat the living daylights out of Army. I think Cincy's offense is good enough, high-powered enough to really punish those long, sustaining drives that Army takes. I see this going like Army has like a nice, big 20-play drive to get in the end zone. Maybe only kick a field goal, and then Cincinnati scores right off the bat, quick, like four play drive, back and forth, and Cincy just the speed, keeping their offense off the field is really going to help them.
All right.
Yeah, it's a tough game, but I am going to take Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm going to also take Cincinnati with the points. I do think Army will hang around until the fourth quarter. I think it will be a pretty good game, but I could see Cincinnati pulling away late, maybe winning by 17 or 20.
Joe, who am I going for?
Army.
You damn right. You know why I'm going for Army?
Because you like to lose.
Okay, watch this. 2019. Ranked number 7 Michigan. Went in overtime, even though Army lost 24-21. The year before that, they went against number 5 Oklahoma. Went in overtime and still lost to them. The last time they played a ranked team and got demolished was against Ohio State. 2017, they lost 38-7. This is Cincinnati. Okay, they're not better, all right, than Michigan. Okay, they're not better than Oklahoma,
but they're still going to beat Army.
If they win, but guess what? I would take Army with the 14 points, and I bet you that they might lose by a field goal at least. Time of possession will belong to Army. They know how to play ranked teams. And they ain't, excuse my language, they ain't no bitches. I'm telling you that right now. Army will represent, and I'm going to prove y'all wrong. And I'll go waterboarding myself. Matter of fact, I don't know if I got a waterboard.
Is this what the show's gonna do? Every
There's gonna be a lot of waterboarding next week.
I'll just be in my bathtub and I'll just go under the water. Is that fine enough with you, Joe?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna opt out of the waterboarding situation.
That's smart. Yeah,
there goes Dennis. Yeah, of course. Hey, moving right along. We got Georgia and Arkansas straight up. Who you got?
This is easy. Georgia, Arkansas going after a coach change. Rough. Georgia, like I said, JT Daniels is the real deal. Georgia by a landslide.
Wait, how come Arkansas not getting any points here? What is this? What is this nonsense?
Picking.
It's a pick 'em. Pick it.
Oh, let me pick them. Georgia by like a bazillion. If Arkansas was given 35, I would have considered. No, I'd have still taken Georgia.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you got to go with the Razorbacks here. No, I'm just kidding. This is an easy one. Yeah, Bulldogs in a blowout in this one.
All right, I'm on. You know me. Hey, I'm not saying no more. Let's go, Dogs. All right, we got -14.5 favorite for Florida versus Ole Miss.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Ole Miss with the points here. I like Florida a lot this year. I do think they win this. First game being back, it's gonna be rough. Like I said, I don't like Kyle Trask at QB at all.
Right.
I do, however, on the other hand, like Ole Miss is nice dual threat quarterback. He'll be able to get some yards. He's an underrated Heisman hopeful. So I like Ole Miss to cover, not win, cover.
All right, go ahead, Joe.
Definitely a Heisman hopeful, and he'll definitely have his hopes dashed this week when Ole Miss loses by 17.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I'm thinking similar to Joe on this one. I'm going to take Florida. Ole Miss, bringing in Lane Kiffin, and they have a lot of explosive players on offense. I think their offense will be pretty good this year, but I don't think it'll equal to covering the points here in week 1, or not week 1, week 4, their first game. But yeah, I'm going to take Florida in the points here.
Well, Ole Miss is very lucky they're not playing Alabama. They usually play Alabama in their first conference game. So, but we don't know how Lane Kiffin is operating with Ole Miss. It's too early to determine. Well, we haven't seen anything yet. And many programs that he's been to, it seems to go sour for him. So this is like his last straw to being head coach. So, but that doesn't change my pick as I'm going for Florida on this one. So, Kentucky versus Auburn, straight up. Who you got?
This one is probably the game of the week. This is going to be really, really good. Like I mentioned when we were talking about the SEC quarterbacks, Bo Nix, while I don't like his play all that much, he has a knack for making those moments, being really good when it matters, and I think that will propel Auburn to take the victory over Kentucky here.
Yeah, I really like Kentucky this year, and I know the fans are really jazzed about the team they have, and this is going to be a tough one. I think they're going to lose a close game here to Auburn, which is a real shame. But yeah, Auburn's just a little bit better.
I'm going to go with the upset on this one, actually. It's Auburn's first game. It's both their first games, but still, we've seen some weird stuff with teams playing in their first game. Auburn lost a lot on defense this past year, and I wasn't the biggest believer in Bo Nix, so I don't think Kentucky will win big by any sorts, but I could see them pulling this one out late. I'd probably take Kentucky by a field goal in the upset.
All right, well, Auburn has won 17 of the last 18 meetings, and because of that, I'm going to stick with Auburn to win in this game. Texas versus Texas Tech. Texas Longhorns are favored by 18 points.
Hook 'em horns. They're going to get it done. Texas not only gets it done, they are the winners of the Big 12 this year.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
Feel like this could be a shootout here.
Well, most definitely. It's a Big 12 game. They don't have no defense.
Yeah. Now, I was trying to be cute.
Oh, I'm not. I'm being ugly.
This is going to be I'm struggling because I think Texas definitely wins this by a couple scores, maybe even by 17. That 18th point kind of got me hung up, but because I've been going after Jace all night, I'm going to pick Texas.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't think Texas will cover it by too much. I think they'll get it by a slight margin, probably win by 3 touchdowns. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Longhorns in this one too.
Okay. I'm sorry. Say your answer again. You're saying Texas is going to win over 18 points, correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard different. Hey, I agree with Texas is going to win. This is not the first time Elgin has played Texas Tech. The last 2 meetings, they've beaten them over 20 points. And I expect Elgin to throw over 300 yards. And I expect them to score over 40 points with that offense. So Longhorns over Texas Tech. All right, Tennessee versus South Carolina.
I really like Tennessee this year. They got a lot of key assets returning. They are a solid sleeper underdog in that SEC. I could see them knocking off or keeping it close with some of the big names in the SEC. So I'm very hopeful for them this year, and I think they get the win here against South Carolina.
As I look up between these two, as the team running out, is that the Cock Club? Is that what that says?
Yeah. They're the Gamecocks.
No, I know what they are. There's a thing called the Cock Club. You don't think that's weird? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Come on, man. You serious?
I can't stop looking at it. It's all I can see. My God. How obscene. Jeez, I'm taking Tennessee.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Volunteers as well. They finished the year strong last year. They looked a lot better in the second half. I think they're gonna continue that momentum into this year. And yeah, I don't think South Carolina will be great this year. I think Tennessee wins by probably 2+ touchdowns. That's it.
All right. Well, last season Tennessee did beat South Carolina, and it was that game that the starting quarterback for Tennessee, Garatano, got hit pretty hard and was taken out the game. So this one's going to be a revenge game. And Tennessee, hopefully they'll pull it out. But I picked Tennessee over South Carolina. We got NC State versus Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is favored by -6.5.
This is weird for me. I don't know. I feel like NC State is always going to be that team that's like scary. They choose win and who they're going to really play against. Like sometimes they'll play a Clemson at Clemson's level, and then sometimes they'll play a Clemson at Georgia Tech level. So I don't know. And also the fact that this being Virginia Tech's first game makes me a little wary. But I do like Virginia Tech this year. Key assets coming back from last season where they finished in the top 25. So I'll go ahead with Virginia Tech and the points here.
I really needed an upset to pick this week, and it was almost NC State because you're right, Jace. You know, they tend to win those games sometimes where they totally like play out of their minds. And this could definitely be one of those games, but I'm going to go with VT to start the year out 1-0.
Solid.
Yeah, I'm going with the Hokies as well. I think NC State's one of the worst teams in the ACC right now. And like Jay said, they're just super inconsistent. And Virginia Tech, they're returning a lot of good players. Finished last year strong. So I think they'll make some noise in the ACC this year, and I expect them to win big in their first game.
All right. Virginia Tech has won 4 straight games against NC State. I'm predicting they'll win 5 in a row. So Virginia Tech and the points. Kansas versus Baylor, and I'm hoping that this game does follow through. Hopefully they don't cancel another game, but as of last week, Baylor at the last within hours, I want to say that they had canceled this game that stir up the pot with Houston due to COVID-19. But hopefully this plays out. Kansas at Baylor. Who you got?
I put my faith in Les Miles in Kansas to avenge last year's loss against Coastal Carolina. They did not do it. I've been picking Baylor every week since we started this. They haven't played a game yet, so I'm going to stick to my guns here. Go the Baylor Bears. Get the dub.
Yeah, Kansas isn't going to beat Baylor at Baylor. That's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not even worth making jokes about at this point. Just Baylor. Just put me down for Baylor.
Yeah, I agree. Kansas showing against Coastal Carolina late last weekend was pretty disappointing. Baylor, it's their first game. They obviously lost Matt Rule and a lot of good players to the NFL, but I don't think that will be enough for Kansas to take this game. So I could see Baylor winning this one.
Yeah, Baylor's defense has been dominant against Kansas for 5 straight years. Kansas has not scored a touchdown the last 5 meetings. Okay, they were limited to only single digits. Okay, so being that Les Miles going on his second season, if they score a touchdown, then Jace, I see some progress for Kansas on this one. But Baylor wins. Louisville at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh favorite 2.5.
This is another tough one. This is another really good game. I like Louisville. I like what I saw, even though they were unsuccessful last week against Miami. I think they bounce back here. Not too sold on Pitt after beating Austin P and someone I don't even remember.
Syracuse.
Oh, Syracuse. Syracuse isn't that good. But Louisville, yeah, I like their offense. I like what they got there. I think they come in and get the dub here.
It's funny, in the intro video, we actually played the only good offensive play Syracuse had in its entire game, the toss from Culpepper. That was literally their solo highlight of the week. So thanks. As an Orangeman fan, I appreciate you hooking that up. Yeah, I think Pitt's pretty good. But I definitely think Louisville is at least maybe head and shoulders above them. So I think they do have a real big bounce back. I'll be real excited to see what Louisville does in response to taking that lump like they did last week. But I think they definitely take out Pittsburgh this week, and probably by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Louisville with the plus 2.5. They were in the game with Miami up until late into the fourth quarter, until the turnovers. Obviously, their offense looks good, and Pitt. I thought they should have beat Cuse by a lot more. It was a disappointing game. I expected more out of them. So I think that Pitt's going to get their first loss this week, and I'll go with the underdog and the points of Louisville.
It's never good when the bookies have you at -2.5. Because you could lose by a field goal, and then that's a wrap, So this is a hard one, but I got Louisville on this one. I think Louisville is more prepared for this game. Their competition is a little bit more harder. So, yeah, let's go Cardinals. Let's see if they can make it happen here. Mississippi State at LSU.
This is my upset of the week. Mississippi State gets the win outright against LSU. LSU, everyone of keynote from last year's season is gone besides Coach O. Even their best wide receiver coming back, Jamar Chase, said, nah, I'm not messing with COVID. So now you just got the shambles of possibly one of the greatest college football teams ever. They're not going to be able to pick the pieces back up again. Mississippi State, very underrated. They got their stud running back returning, as well as their quarterbacks returning. I think they'll do okay and get the dub here. against LSU, and we will see how fraudulent LSU actually is.
No, that's not going to happen. That's no. It's not happening. Absolutely not. It'll be a good game. I'll give you that. It'll be a good game, at least till late in the fourth when LSU puts them away, but no.
All right.
Yeah, I think LSU will struggle against some of the upper echelon SEC teams. I just don't see Mississippi State as one of those teams. I think they're, probably making their way towards that. Obviously, you mentioned Kylan Hill, the great running back. They always have a pretty good defense, but I don't see it in a week one or game one for LSU. I think that, there's a reason that they have all these top recruits every year, and they don't rebuild, they reload. So I think that's what we're going to see from the Tigers this year. And I'd probably pick LSU by 17 or 21.
This is definitely going to be a good game. Worthwhile seeing this SEC team. But KJ Costello transferred from Stanford to Mississippi State as a graduate transfer and joins the new head coach, which is the former Washington State coach, Mike Leach. For LSU, we're seeing a new staff, new almost everything here. Not going against, the status of LSU. They had the last 2 years, they have a good recruiting in the top 25. But I got Mississippi State on this game. And
you are insane. Who's going to get out of here? Death Valley, get out of town.
Hold on.
Dude, you should both be waterboarded now for making those picks.
Well, when I win at the end, then you know exactly what you got to do, right? Mm-hmm. Outstanding. Thank you for acknowledging, Joe.
Dennis, if you have techniques you could send, I'd appreciate that. I could use I use some tips. Do I make sure the mouth is open when I'm pouring the water in? Or do I want to pour it into the nostrils? Am I pouring more of it in an upward angle?
Well, no, hold on. I mean, we could look. I'll let Dennis show you again how it's done, okay? All right. The first thing you got to do is get in position, get into the prone. There you go. Just like an airplane. That's all you got to do. All right.
Apparently, there also needs to be a hurricane going on.
There you go. He was actually drinking the water. So I don't know if you want to drink that water.
This just gets wilder and wilder.
Florida. I'm telling you.
Woo, boy. We got one more game, and that is Troy versus BYU.
Oh, the BYU Cougars go and get the win here. This will be my waterboard game of the week.
-14.
If they don't cover, I'll do it. Yeah, you saw what they did. Navy's supposed to be so good. You saw the spanking they put on Navy. You think Troy's going to come into town and they're just going to sit back and do nothing? No, BYU's going to steamroll them.
And all of a sudden it got quiet.
Yeah. Listen, this is definitely we got to let Jace end on a high note. I feel like he needs this. He needs our support.
It's all because of me. Because I know you and Sean have eyes, and you know how good BYU is as a football team. After stomping Navy,
Joe, what's gonna happen is BYU will wait till Saturday morning to let Troy know, hey, by the way, we can't play because we don't have enough people on our roster like they did against Army last weekend. So I'm not really too excited with this BYU team. But I'm definitely taking Troy and the 14 points just to get on Jason's nerves.
Wait, can I tell you what I think's going to happen? I think BYU will win this game by 50 points.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with BYU in the points. Troy's lone win came against Middle Tennessee, who we already talked about. It's a terrible team. So I could see BYU. I'd probably say winning by 4 touchdowns, probably by 28 or 31 points.
All right, I'm going to be real with you. It's going to be 28-14, and nobody's going to freaking win this goddamn game.
I love it.
And if that happens, dude, I swear to God, I'll take a point for myself.
Take
y'all.
Take it. You'll have earned it.
Anyhow, hey guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on the show. Like always, hey, catch us every Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. All 4 downs. Check out the game Saturday. Put your notes in. Hey, you got your comments. Go ahead and leave your comments on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Like us on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Again, this is All 4 Downs Podcast presented by Clovercrest Media. And Joe, tell us more about Clovercrest Media, please.
There are nearly 30 CMG podcasts across the board on a number of different topics. I always tell people, if you don't find one that you like at clovercrestmedia.com, you do what we all did. Start your own podcast. You could start a podcast for as low as $15 a month. You can find out more by logging on to clovercrestmedia.com and click on the Start Your Own Podcast tab. Clovercrest Media, the harder we work, the luckier we get. That's our tagline. We don't believe in luck. We believe in working our asses off. And when you do that, good things come. So if you want to be part of a winning team, you want to build out a podcast, if you have an existing podcast and you want to get on a network, again, you could join for real cheap. Get on cool shows like this, a lot of cross promotion, the whole nine. So if you want to be successful, join the A-team, Clovercrest Media.
Nice. And Tuesdays, don't forget, we got HSW show. That is the Hard Hitting Wrestling show. Every Tuesdays, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And we're definitely going to be talking about a certain Hall of Famer that passed away earlier today, or actually last night, is the Road Warrior Animal. My deepest condolences to the family, friends, and all the fans. But we are discussing the Tag Team Turmoil Tournament, and we're definitely going to be talking about him. So stay tuned. Like, again, on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, that is the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show, HHW Show. On behalf of Clovercrest, Jace, Sean, and Joe, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.